right, hello wine drinking people. Today is Friday, the 21st of September, and by this time, man, I am just getting sick of cruising around the Mediterranean on this boat. Please let me get home, folks, so I can drink some more great wine with you or my wine drinking people. Well, you can see that I've planned my drinking when I get home well, and we've got this incredible vintage Bordeaux tasting coming up a week from tonight here at the store. $195. We're going to be tasting 8 wines going back to 1949. Incredible value. I don't know how we do it here at the Wine Watch, folks, but hey, we just have the wine and we want to drink it. We don't have most of these wines for sale. They're the last bottle that I have, but hey, I figured in addition to these 8 bottles that we're going to be showing, I should give you a little selection of what we have in the store, vintage Bordeaux, and man, I could not believe the list that we put together here for you on this offering. We've got vintages going back to 1945. Everything on here is older than 1989, so check it out. These wines are all in impeccable shape, stored here at our storage at the Wine Watch. And, well, we've got an incredible lineup, as I mentioned before, starting with 1949, a great old vintage just after World War II. We've had this Chateau PICHON LALANDE before. It was brilliant the last time we had it, shown very nicely. The 61 Grade La Rose, a legendary vintage, old vintage in Bordeaux. You pay huge money for first gross from 61. This Grade La Rose, supposedly the greatest Grade La Rose Robert Parker has ever tasted. Tasted 7 times with consistent notes. 1970 Chateau Latour. How can we afford to show Chateau Latour? The new release is over $1,000 a bottle. Well, 1970, another wine that I've had many times. And, you know, only got 91 points. But 91's an A in my book. You pay a lot for those last 4 points, 97, 89, and 100, especially with a wine like Chateau Latour. 1975 MALESCOT, one of the best vintages from the 70s. Is this wine going to show up? Who knows? You know what? When wines get to be this old, there's no longer great vintages, just great bottles. All right, 1982, the first vintage that the vintage that made Robert Parker famous. This was the year that, you know, all the other critics pooed, and he said that one of the greatest vintages ever, and it has turned out to be one of the greatest vintages ever, and a great BRANAIRE DUCRU. 1983 CANON, one of the fantastic properties in Saint-Emilion. So this is not considered a great vintage, but 83, a very good vintage, following the heels of 82, maybe a little bit underrated. And then 1988 PICHON COMTESSE de LALANDE, again 2 Pichons, and one of the properties that outperforms or overperforms in an underachieving vintage like 1988, which was hailed as a great vintage, but I mean, for me, 1989, 1990 definitely superseded. And then 1989 BRANAIRE DUCRU. So we got a little mini vertical BRANAIRE DUCRU of PICHON COMTESSE and some other great wines thrown in there, including Chateau Latour, first growth, right here a week from tonight. Check it out, folks. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.